We're going to take a look at the review for this early Republic unit that we've been working on the last 2 weeks. Sorry it's been so long for me to get out this video, but let's take a look at question number 1. What did the Louisiana Purchase do to the size of the United States? It doubled in size. And what year was the purchase? And under what president? It was purchased in 1803 by Thomas Jefferson. Let's look at number 2. What is the Democratic Republican view on government? They think that it should be ruled by the people. We the people, by the people, for the people. What about the Democratic Republican view on citizen participation? They believe in states' rights. They want the states to have more power than the central government. What about their view on focus, or what should their focus of the economy be? They felt they should emphasize agriculture. And you can see some crops here next to a barn. What about the Democratic Republican interpretation of the Constitution? They feel it should be a strict interpretation. Remember our example of the dress code and the hair color. Just because she doesn't have her natural brown hair color, she has black in it, even though black is a natural color. It's not natural to her, so she must be sent home. I think they put something about pants, but I don't know why they put something about pants. But hair colors was our example of a strict interpretation. What about their view on the national bank? They think that there should be state banks. The money should be with the states. What about our view on tariffs? They don't want any protective tariffs. They feel like there should be free trade. And last but not least, who are the supporters of this political party? The main guy is Thomas Jefferson, who apparently has pink lipstick and silver hair. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 talks about the Federalists and what the Federalists view and how they feel about things. The Federalists' view on government is they want a strong federal government, a strong central government. They want it to be ruled by the wealthy class. That's how the citizens participate. You have to be wealthy in order to participate in this government. Their focus on the economy should be on manufacturing, building things, industry, making things out of things, like taking cotton and making cloth out of that, manufacturing that. Eventually, steel will become a great manufacturing item. What about the interpretation of the Constitution? They felt it should have a loose interpretation. Their view on the national bank, they were for a national bank. They felt the money should be controlled nationally, not individually by states. Their view on tariffs, they wanted protective tariffs. What about supporters of this political party? Well, John Adams and Alexander Hamilton are the 2 main supporters of the Federalist Party. Let's look at number 4. Number 4 says, the Judiciary Act, remember that it created the federal court system, but it also established the 3 ways to hear your case. You start in the district court, you go to the Court of Appeals, and then you end in the Supreme Court. Now, what about number 5? The problems faced by the early Republic. Some of those were national security. Remember the Whiskey Rebellion here. The Whiskey Rebellion. What could we do during the Whiskey Rebellion? Also creating an economic system. How do we collect taxes? What do we do with those? Do we increase imports and exports? Do we become an agricultural-based society? Do we become a manufacturing-based society? How do we do that, especially with taxes? What about establishing a court system? Talking about limiting the number of cases the Supreme Court hears because they're the top court. What about the district courts and the appellate courts and the ones in between? What about all of those? How do we establish that? What about the authority of the executive branch? Setting up his cabinet was one thing that we did here. And so, number 6. What was John Adams a part of? What political party? He was a Federalist. There's John Adams, apparently smoking a pipe. I'm not sure if he actually smoked a pipe or wore like a cone on his head, but that's John Adams, and he's a Federalist. Number 7, what political party was Thomas Jefferson a part of? He was in the Democratic Republicans. For some reason, he has a pitchfork, probably because not the devil, but he was a farmer, and he thought it should be with the regular Joes of the nation, Democratic Republicans. What about number 8? Number 8 says Monroe added land to the United States when he purchased what? He purchased Florida from Spain. What about number 9? The main reason for the U.S. declaring war on Britain was because of the British impressment on U.S. sailors. The British impressment on U.S. sailors. Remember, impressment means forced military service. And what about number 10 here? The War of 1812's main significance was it established the United States as an independent and powerful nation. There we are, flexing our muscles. Number 11. The 2 events that happened under Adams' presidency were the XYZ Affair and the Alien and Sedition Act. XYZ Affair was with France. Alien and Sedition Act was not with Martians, but with foreigners in this land. What about number 12? The Monroe Doctrine stated that Europe needed to stay out of America, and we will stay out of them. And we built a fence around America. I'm not sure what happened to Florida here, but it got a little runny. But that's good. You got to build a fence around America under the Monroe Doctrine. Keep Europe out. Number 13, what did Washington in his farewell address warn against? Number 13, he warned against staying neutral in foreign affairs, avoiding political parties, avoiding national debt, and I don't know about that. Avoiding religion and government because the division of the country. Let's look here. Remember, we talked about this in class. His advice was to keep religion out because it would, divide the country. However, he spoke a little differently in his farewell address, in the farewell address here. He says that without religion, you can't be moral so maybe let's not avoid religion, let's keep religion in, because without it you can't be moral. You can't be moral. Number 14. What about the first 5 presidents in order? Well, we know these: George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and James Monroe. Number 15, summarize the Monroe Doctrine. Basically, it says that if Europe stays out of our business, we will stay out of theirs. The U.S. also gains Florida from Spain. Number 16, the Embargo Act hurt the American economy because it cut imports and exports. Okay? Thomas Jefferson apparently commanded all ships to stay in port. And number 17, last but not least, Dolly Madison's saving of the Washington portrait from the burning of the White House symbolized what? American independence and perseverance. There's his portrait. Good job on that review. Be ready for your test tomorrow. Later.